The Kanata story began in 1999 when we were awarded a contract to create a production called Drum. Drum was built around the idea that every culture has a distinct rhythm, and by bringing those cultures and those rhythms together, we could show people that we can share a song, a stage, a country, and a world. To tell you more about our Kanata story, I'd like to welcome our very excellent creative producer, Jac Gautreau. Thank you.
Bonjour.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Two words that have come up the most often this morning to me have been sharing and stories, and we're very happy to be here today and to be able to share our story. Et je voudrais juste prendre un instant pour remercier.
If I may, I want to thank a few. I want to thank the organizer of 2017 Starts Now.
And so I'll be switching back and forth between the two official languages. Des fois, je me rends même pas compte que je le fais.
Sometimes I'm not even aware that I'm switching language.
But I'm sorry about that. Sometimes I don't even realize when I switch. So I'd like to tell you, first of all, a little bit about who we are. The Kanata Foundation is a not-for-profit whose principal mandate is to educate and increase the public's understanding of the diversity of Canadian culture. And it does that through heritage entertainment. Now, the way we intend to achieve that mandate is by creating an iconic, multidisciplinary celebration. And we're going to take that celebration from coast to coast to coast. And this celebration is called Kanata. Now, à la Fondation Kanata,
At the Kanata Foundation, we are thinking 150. Actually, we started thinking 150th anniversary even before that we realized 2017 was the 150th anniversary.
Drum is a show that has told Nova Scotia's story to over 2 million people, putting the First Nations at the center and using the 4 founding cultures of Nova Scotia and their respective rhythms as its main storytelling tools. Now, the Drum success story has taken it from Trafalgar Square to the Vancouver Olympics, from its own custom theater on the Halifax waterfront to extended stays at Dollywood in Tennessee and hundreds of shows in between. And we'd like to give you just a little taste of Drum. Le spectacle Drum a
This show has a central message. That is, you can be yourself while sharing a song, a theater, a planet, or a country, or even a planet.
When we first responded to that ACTP request for proposals with a show that would feature the 4 founding cultures of Nova Scotia, this was, to say the least, an uncommon idea. 15 years ago, that type of cultural diversity was not as natural as it seems today. And we're convinced that Drum has been instrumental in redefining the way Nova Scotians think about themselves, about their story, and about their province. Now, one of the most satisfying discoveries we made along the way, as we crisscrossed North America, taking Drum to places like Albuquerque, New Mexico, or Seattle, Washington, was that even though we were telling our story, the Nova Scotian story, that this story was resonating deeply with audiences and that people were constantly coming up to us and saying, yes, it's your story, but it's our story too. Now, in 2010, energized by our presence at the Vancouver Olympics and filled like many Canadians with the pride that we felt at that time, we started to imagine a way to evolve the fundamental concepts of drum into a show that would tell Canada's story. So what exactly is Kanata? Qu'est-ce que c'est Kanata? Well, Kanata is about starting a national cultural conversation and then shaping the results of that conversation into a groundbreaking celebration that tells Canada's story to Canadians and to the world. Now, I know these conferences have often been an opportunity to reminisce about 1967. Now, I was 4, so I don't remember. All I remember is the thing my brother got to go to and not me. But we believe that the Canada of 2017 is not the Canada of bonjour mon ami, how are you my friend anymore. Canada today is a shining example of how cultural diversity can be a successful concept. While diversity has been a challenge for many other countries, Canada has been lifted, invigorated by the widening of its cultural landscape. Now, Kanata will retain the fundamental concepts of drum, and we believe once it's created, it'll become Nova Scotia's gift to Canada and Canada's gift to the world. So, how do we go about creating such an iconic production? Comment on entreprend la création d'un projet aussi ambitieux?
For us, the first step is to launch a national conversation around cultural identity.
A national conversation about culture. And how does that conversation start? Well, we want to involve Canadians in the creation of this show. And we think the first step is towards making that a reality is to stage a series of workshops in strategic partnership with important cultural institutions across the country, the Confederation Center in Charlottetown, the National Arts Center, the Banff Center for the Arts, the Alnayat Festival in Iqaluit. These workshops are going to be the show's principal incubators. They'll gather artists from throughout the country, artists from all disciplines, artists who are already in their work contemporizing their own culture. We'll surround those artists with a kick-ass, all-Canadian creative team. And together they'll explore, during these workshops, some of the themes that will be treated in the Kanata show. On peut imaginer un atelier autour de l'immigration.
For instance, there could be a workshop on immigration or language.
About our shared history. Now, each workshop will allow the participating artists to learn more about each other, about this country, about the community that is hosting this workshop, and allow them to share their unique perspectives. Now, ces ateliers ils serviront à démarrer la création.
So these workshops will launch the contents that will be integrated in the Kanata performance.
Participating artists invited to perform, share their work with the host community in a series of concerts, art exhibits, school visits, and all of this culminating in a closing concert and performance that features the result of all these interactions. Now, accompanying these workshops will be the launch of an extensive online and interactive component, what I'm calling the Kanata app, although it's a hard thing to say two in a row, will be designed in a way to connect Canadians with Kanata's creative process. Not only will they be able to follow the workshop process and meet and interact with the artists and the creators of the show, but the app and the website will provide ways for Canadians to express their Canadianness and share it with us and with each other. Starting on July 1st, 2014, Kanata will invite Canadians to contribute to its creative process by sharing their cultural touchstones and, as we've heard so many times today, sharing their stories. Et c'est ces contributions qui serviront comme matériel.
And this contribution will be the base material that we use to build up the performance or the show.
Foundation of the show. For 3 years, the collection of this content will grow and grow and nourish this interactive experience that's guaranteed to build both community and excitement. Depuis le début, nous sommes convaincus qu'un projet
We're convinced that a show such as Kanata needs its own house, as unique as the
will be a customized,
show itself.
portable facility that has a dual purpose. During the day, it's a 21st century town hall. It transforms itself into a conference and exhibition space. It's a theater, it's a television studio, hosting a variety of cultural activities. It leverages its extensive multimedia capabilities to engage Canadians in a rich exploration of how this country came to be and our hopes for its future. At night, well, it transforms into a highly customized performance space for the Kanata show, the show that's been built through these workshops. And it welcomes a ticketed audience of 1,200 people. Now, we believe that traveling with a custom venue, though it's clearly, for those who might have done it, not a simple task, is essential because it speaks to our desire to bring a consistency of experience to all the Canadians who come and experience Kanata. Kanata is destined to travel from coast to coast to coast in 2017, allowing as many Canadians as possible to have that full-on Kanata experience. Pourquoi entreprendre un tel projet?
But why such a project?
Well, first and foremost, because we believe in the enormous creative potential of this country. Our experience with drum has taught us that cultural and artistic expression can be powerful forces of social understanding and change. And the more we know about each other, the better Canadians we become. Canada has long been a beacon of hope for the world, and this project's a unique way to celebrate our diversity, our inclusiveness, and the richness of our cultural landscape. Now, the Kanata team is led fearlessly by Brooks Diamond, who you've met. His longtime accomplice, Fiona Diamond, was the founder of the still-running Halifax Comedy Fest, and she's produced shows with artists far too long to list here. But it's also accompanied by a diverse pan-Canadian advisory board that includes Phil Fontaine as its honorary chair, and some very wise folks sit on it, like John Hamm, former Premier of Nova Scotia, Melanie Berry, who runs CARIS, Jeff Melanson, who runs the Banff Centre for the Arts. And a little more than a year ago, individual Nova Scotians were invited to join this team by investing in its development through a CEDIF, a Community Economic Development Investment Fund, and over 60 individuals answered the call and supported the continued development of Kanata. And we're continuing to build the team as we work on Kanata, and we have a series of building block projects that lead to Kanata that unfortunately inside this 10 minutes I can't tell you about, but if you're interested, we'll be more than glad to share with you some of those projects. How we're looking to build the Kanata team, we're looking for like-minded individuals, corporations, advocates, organizations interested in joining us in building what we're convinced will be an impactful, memorable, iconic celebration of this great country that we live in. Alors, on voudrait vous quitter avec un petit vidéo qui résume.
So we'll show you a short video.
We'd like to leave you with just a short video of what Kanata means to us.
It begins with a single beat, a heartbeat. As more drummers join the circle, as more feet take up the dance, as more voices rise in song, the rhythm gains complexity, weaving a tapestry of shared experience. And we forge our future from the rhythms of our past. Et ces rythmes nous transportent. Assois-y. Kanata. Un panorama d'héritage. an extravaganza of entertainment, a pavilion of wonders, a life-changing experience of harmony in diversity. Kanata, heartbeat of the nation.
Merci beaucoup. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Terrific. That's terrific. How you doing?
Monsieur Gautreau, j'ai une petite question. Peut-être que j'ai...
Why Kanata? Perhaps I didn't quite understand. Well, Kanata, I think we're all familiar with that moment in history. And we saw it on TV where people were asked, is it the village or is it the people? Well, Kanata is something we can identify with. And the adventure began with the First Nations, and Kanata is a First Nation word. So that's where you found your inspiration, yes.